I still see a lot of people standing towards the entrance. Please make sure that you make a headway right here to the left of the hall. There are plenty of seats available here. Of the NASSCOM tea and coffee and snacks. So come on, let me hear it with a big round of applause for NASSCOM for putting up such a fantastic event that it has been. A louder, and a more louder round of applause. Come on, everybody, pump up the energy. And I'm going to try and now wriggle in one more time, call on M.R. Rangaswamy to take us through the remainder of the evening.
Made in India, right? You recognize that tune? So we wanted this to be very appropriate. This is the NASSCOM Product Conclave, made in India. So that's what it's all about. So we got the final two speakers. The first one needs a little bit of introduction. I saw him, I think 2 years ago at TED India when it was in Mysore. And he was an amazing speaker. I think some of you heard his session earlier today. But if you recall, yesterday, Vinod mentioned that your company and your product has to be, you have to have the belief like it's your religion. So we decided to bring someone who knew something about religion and something about belief. So please welcome Dr. D. Devdutt.
Good evening. It's quite overwhelming to have such a large crowd, and thank you, NASSCOM, for calling me. I will try to do this extremely difficult topic. What does a customer really want? And to do that, we have to first begin with the framework, which is common in all my sessions, and also to explain this rather bizarre title called Chief Belief Officer. Just to tell you, the reason this title exists is just to make people curious, to make you wonder. Imagine if I give you a visiting card and it says Chief Belief Officer, you're going to ask me, what do you do? And as I explained in the earlier session, then a conversation starts, and hopefully at the end of it, I've sold you a concept, and you will invite me to a conference. And as you can see, I've been fairly successful at that. So, okay. Is it on? Okay. So this is the framework. The framework is, what is business? Business is what we do. What we do, behavior is how we do it, and belief is why we do it. Specific to this session, if a person is buying a product, why exactly is he buying the product? And the reasons are not objective. What is objective is that he has purchased the product and the method by which he has haggled about it, etc. But we have to ask ourselves, what is the subjective reality that is governing his need for buying that particular product? Is there a subjective reality? You see, the primary reason for this title, belief, and the use of the word belief, is that everything that we do in modern management and in the business world is based on objective criteria, on scientific principles, on evidence. What we don't focus on, somewhere along the line, we have gone so much into objectivity that we have completely forgotten about subjectivity. How do the customer look at it subjectively? At his emotional level, how does he connect with the product? What is it that the product does? How is he receiving the product emotionally? And that is what we have to explore and understand, is what makes the person go. For example, I write books. So I'm very conscious of the fact that when the person enters the bookshop, why should he pick up my book? Why should he look at the cover? roll does the back cover do to it, and then when he opens and just flips through it, what is the various sensory inputs that are playing on his mind that will make him say that I will now go to the cash counter and remove 200 rupees and give it and buy the book, because only then does it happen, then the deal is struck. So the entire cycle has to be understood at a sensory level and at an emotional level, and often we forget to do that. And I'll try to give a framework today, and that's what I usually do, is to see an abstract framework and can we relook at our products in a different way today. And for that, we have to look at subjective reality. How does one look at subjective reality? Is it possible to look at subjective reality? And for that, there is a very simple method, and which has been communicated in India for thousands of years, and basically says, darshan karo. Look. Look carefully. So what we are going to do today is going to look. We are going to look at our consumer. We are going to look at our customer. Now, before the customer becomes a customer, he is actually a human being. So let's understand the human being better. And to understand the human being better, let's look at nature. Let's look at this image. So every day in the morning, the sun rises, and the deer has to run fast, and the cheetah has to run faster. Now, if I were to ask you the question, and I have done this several times, I ask, who is the victim in this photograph? You don't have to answer, but 99% of the time, the top of the mind answer is the victim here is the deer. The prey. The predator is evil and nasty and cruel and horrible, and the prey is the victim, the quivering, frightened deer. That's a typical answer. Then you say, think again. And our considered response then becomes, maybe the cheetah is also a victim because it is running after food. And then the third answer is both are victims, both are struggling to survive. So we are doing darshan, and it's getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and finally you figure out, hey, in nature does not play favorites. Nature does not like the deer more than the cheetah. Nature loves all animals equally. Everybody has a strength, everybody has a weakness, everybody is granted opportunities, everybody has a threat. Every animal is treated equally by nature. Nature is the ultimate meritocracy. If you run fast, you will survive. If you run faster, you will survive. It is all about how well you run. So let's do darshan again of nature, because nature is only about predators and prey. Living beings struggling to survive from morning to night and all through the night. That is an important factor to remember, prakriti. So the word would be prakriti mein koi bechara nahi hai, sabko chara hai. Everybody has been given fodder if they can get to it. That's how nature looks at it. So when we do darshan of the cheetah, we realize it suffers from the fear of scarcity. Every day in the morning it wakes up and says, I have to hunt for food to fill my belly. Mujhe khana chahiye. And then you look at the prey, you look at the deer, and what you see is that the deer says, every day I am afraid that somebody is going to ambush me. If you ask the deer, who do you think is lucky? Who do you think nature prefers? The deer will say the nature prefers the cheetah, because the cheetah can eat a full stomach. Can comfortably eat full stomach. In case you didn't know, a deer never eats a full stomach because it never knows when it will be ambushed. So it always has to keep its stomach light. It can't have a full stomach, you can't run on a full stomach. So as far as the deer is concerned, the cheetah is lucky. Now ask the cheetah, who is lucky? The cheetah will say, the deer is lucky, because every day in the morning it wakes up and around it there is breakfast. You don't have to run food everywhere. I have to hunt, stalk, chase, stay fit to get food. So who is lucky? Subjective reality varies depending on the point of view. It fluctuates. So the deer, the cheetah has a target. The cheetah every day has a target, like many entrepreneurs. somewhere you want to go. What is the word for target? How do you translate the word target in Hindi? Laksh. From where comes the goddess Lakshmi? Resources. Without Lakshmi, you will not survive. She is chara, food, sustenance. Without it, you won't exist. It is what drives an organization. It is the fodder of the organization. Without this fodder, it won't survive. Either the investment banker gives it, but ideally it should come from the customer. Ultimately, the customer has to give the grass. So Lakshmi, the concept of Lakshmi comes in. And then you have Durga, security. What is Durg? Durg is a fortress where you feel safe, where you feel secure, where you feel you have sanctuary, protection, safety. You feel someone is taking care of you, shelter, sharan, pana. So we have two separate needs. At one level, I have the need for food. Look, the separation of needs. There is the need for food which will enable me to survive, but there is also the desire for protection. If you protect me, I want to be protected. Two needs, two goddesses. The praise goddess and the predators goddess. And then we forget that human beings are 99% animals. Technically it is 96%, but 99% sounds far more dramatic. Our genetic pool is the same. We share the same. That means the cheetah is inside us and the deer is inside us. We, whether we deny it or not, we are seeking Lakshmi and Durga constantly. We constantly seek food, bhog. We constantly see Durga, security, safety. We want to feel safe. We don't want to be frightened. We have hunger which needs to be satiated. We have fear that needs to be managed. It will not go away. Billions and billions of animals in the world, all their genetic code is within us, so the memories are impinged within us. It does not go away anywhere. But what is that 1% difference? What is that one thing that human beings have that animals do not have? And we have this wonderful organ called the brain, the larger brain. Very specifically, if you want to be technical about it, it's called the neofrontal cortex, located just behind your forehead. And what is it that it enables you to do that no animal can do? One function. Any idea? Think, choose. These are very sophisticated words, very fundamental. Reason, very sophisticated. Analysis, no. Logic, no. Very, very sophisticated, very simple. Belief, no, no, no. You won't get points for that. Decide, collect. It is so fundamental you do not even think it is a function. See, animals can see. Discriminate. Feel, animals do feel. Remember, animals have memory. Oh, Papa. Something fundamental, something very... See so many IT people. Dream, animals can dream. Dream is a very strange, is a physiological. Imagination. I know, but I didn't choose not to hear. It's more dramatic that way. Imagination, kalpana. Animals can't imagine. Not because they don't want to, they don't have the neofrontal cortex. The dolphin and chimpanzee can imagine, but nothing in the scale to which human beings can imagine. We can imagine, and because we can imagine, you have an alternate reality, which is different from nature. Animals don't have an alternate reality. The only reality they have in front of them is nature. Predator and prey, stimuli. Predator and prey. Nature is the only reality. Prakriti is the only reality. Human beings have an alternate reality, an imagined reality. In Sanskrit, this was called Brahmand, the imagined reality. Who creates this imagined reality? That is the creator, Brahma. Everyone in this room has an imagined reality which is unique, customized to them. 1,000 people in this room, 1,000 Brahmas, 1,000 Brahmands, but only one Prakriti. And this we forget. So if you have a company of 40,000 people, there are 40,000 Brahmands at work. Only one Prakriti. And you try to, then we say, let's try to homogenize everything by creating culture. And that's where Sanskriti comes in. So there are 3 worlds that we inhabit. Prakriti, natural reality, shared with animals and plants. Then there is social reality, Sanskriti. But what is the most powerful is Brahmand, the 3rd reality, imagined personal subjective reality. This is Tripura, the 3 worlds that we inhabit. And this is true of every customer. So when you look at a customer, remember he's occupying 3 worlds. Of these 3 worlds, he shares only one with you, Prakriti. When you look at him, he's thinking predator or prey. Ask sales guys what they feel before the sale and after the sale. Every time you enter, you hear a growl. Prakriti, that is what is happening. When 2 people meet, that's what happens. If you're Indian, suddenly you feel safer. Sanskriti has come in. And then finally, the Brahmand starts to talk to each other. You're not people anymore. You're not a community anymore. You're a person. And this we miss out. We forget to see the person. As we look at Excel sheets and we look at pie charts, we look at statistics. We don't look at the human being, that one person, Brahma, Brahmand. We don't look at that. We are so busy looking at the community because it's so much more easier, no? Slicing and dicing databases. The cell is what makes the difference, each cell. Each cell is Brahma. The pivot table is Sanskriti. How much value do you give to the pivot table? It's useful when it's functional. And Prakriti is the knowledge without the Excel sheet. It's just there. So 3 worlds. Why am I saying this? Because imagination, when I start imagining things, I get Saraswati. Saras means that which is fluid, that which cannot be caught on. You try to catch it like water, you can't catch it. Sarasa, fluid, ephemeral, mercurial. This is your imagination. If I ask you what you believe in, you will tell me what sounds correct. You are not telling me the truth. Subjective reality is never expressed. Worse, sometimes you don't even know your subjective reality because we are busy fooling ourselves. We don't realize the cheetah looks and says that I'm not a cheetah, I'm actually a deer. And the deer says, I am a cheetah, and wonders why somebody slapped him around. Because identity crisis. Because we have imagination. A deer with imagination is a frightening thing. And that's what happens. I go for appraisals thinking that I am a tiger. At the end of the appraisal, I've become a mouse. So we imagine, in Brahmanda, I believe there is a world without the predator and without scarcity. What is this? Look at the blessings that we give people. May there be peace and prosperity in your life. What is peace? No cheetah. What is prosperity? Lots of deers. This can only be created on Photoshop. It does not exist in Prakriti. It does not. But we imagine this. This is the vision statement. Every company has a vision statement, a grand statement. It comes from imagination. उसका यथार्थ नहीं होता. अगर